My name is Ethan. Something followed me for 200 miles, I had always loved driving late at night. Something about the empty roads, the hum of the engine, and the way the headlights cut through the darkness gave me a sense of freedom I couldn't get during the day. I was 24, living in New Mexico, and that night, I decided to take a long drive from Albuquerque down to Las Cruces. It was supposed to be a simple 3-hour drive, an easy escape from the noise of my apartment, the clutter of my life, and the tension I'd been carrying for weeks. I left my apartment around midnight. The city was quiet, streets nearly empty. I grabbed a thermos of coffee, plugged my phone into the charger, and set the playlist to something calm, soft rock, the kind that makes you feel like you're the only person on earth. I drove past the last gas station in the city and turned onto the highway, the asphalt stretching out like a black ribbon under the pale moonlight. For the first hour, it was perfect. The radio, the road, the occasional deer crossing sign flickering in the headlights, it all felt normal. And then I saw it. At first, I thought it was a car parked on the shoulder. Headlights off, engine silent, just a dark shape sitting there in the shadows. As I passed, I caught a glimpse of something inside, or maybe just my mind playing tricks. A tall figure, hunched, staring at the road ahead. Unmoving. I shook my head, laughed at myself. Too many late nights, I whispered. I kept driving. The highway was empty now, the city lights a distant glow behind me. Around mile marker 67, the radio started to scratch. A brief burst of static, the music cutting in and out. I reached over, fiddled with the dial. Nothing. The static continued, faint but persistent, like someone whispering just at the edge of hearing. That's when I noticed the headlights behind me. At first, I thought it was normal, another driver. But this car had no taillights on. Just headlights, piercing through the dark, closing the distance slowly. I glanced in the rearview mirror. Nothing unusual. Another second, and the glow was back. I swerved slightly, checked again. Still nothing. And yet, those headlights seemed closer every time I blinked. My stomach sank. I accelerated, hoping to put some distance between myself and whatever was behind me. The road was empty, straight stretches with no traffic for miles. But every time I checked, the headlights were there. Never changing speed. Just following, around mile marker 89. I pulled over at a small rest stop. I killed the engine, rolled down the window. The desert was quiet. Wind brushing the sagebrush. I looked back. Nothing. No lights. Relief washed over me. My heart slowed. Maybe I was just imagining things. Stress. Sleep deprivation. I got back on the road. Not even 10 minutes later, the lights were back. Now, it wasn't just following. It was close enough that I could make out a reflection of my own car in the chrome bumper. Every time I changed lanes, it did the same. Every time I slowed, it slowed. It mirrored me, perfectly, silently. I tried to shake it off. It's someone playing a game, I muttered. A trucker messing with me. But deep down, I knew this was different. There was something wrong about the movement. Too precise. Too aware. By mile marker 120, I had made a decision. I would not stop for anything. No rest stops, no gas stations. Just drive straight to Las Cruces. I kept my foot heavy on the accelerator, watching the glowing eyes in the mirror, their distance shrinking despite my speed. That's when I saw him, or it. On a straight stretch of highway, I caught movement on the shoulder. A man. Tall, impossibly thin, wearing a dark hoodie, face obscured by shadow. He held something in his hand. I couldn't tell what it was at first, maybe a stick, maybe a gun. But when I passed him, I could see the gleam, metal, reflective. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. I couldn't stop. If I stopped, I felt certain he would move toward the car. But the strange thing was, the headlights behind me didn't slow down. If anything, they seemed to get brighter, more intense, like the vehicle itself was alive. I called 911 on speaker. Highway. I don't know exactly. Mile marker 123. Someone's following me. I don't know if it's a car or, my words faltered. I didn't know how to explain the impossibility of it. The dispatcher asked me to stay calm, but calm was impossible. Minutes stretched. My eyes were dry, my pulse in my ears. The headlights stayed. Always there. Never blinking, never changing. I tried everything, switching lanes, taking exit ramps. Every time, the lights followed. By mile marker 150, I was trembling. My foot heavy, my heart pounding. I noticed something even worse. The figure from the shoulder wasn't just walking. He was now floating. Not above the ground, exactly, but he glided, moving closer to the center line as I passed. I screamed into the phone. The dispatcher tried to calm me, but all I could see was the road. The dark shape in the mirror, the endless desert stretching to nowhere. Somehow, I reached a highway patrol checkpoint near Las Cruces. The lights of their station never felt so welcoming. I pulled over. The headlights stopped. The figure disappeared. The patrol officers came running. They asked questions. I stammered. Tried to explain. They looked at the highway behind us, empty. No figure. No car. Nothing. They told me later that they had received other reports, travelers on the same stretch, same time frame, saying someone had followed them for miles. Some claimed to see the same tall, thin figure, some saw headlights, some just felt an oppressive presence. I never drove that highway at night again. I never forgot the way the headlights moved. The gliding figure on the shoulder, the complete, terrifying awareness of being followed. Even now, years later, I won't drive alone at night. And when I do, I check the rearview mirror constantly. Always, because once you felt eyes on you from the darkness, moving perfectly with your every motion. You never feel alone on the road again. My name is Laura, and I was 21 when this happened. I was driving back from visiting my cousin in Santa Fe, heading south on Highway 285, deep in the middle of New Mexico desert. The sun had already set hours ago, and the highway was a ribbon of black, stretching endlessly in front of me. I had just passed a small gas station, the kind that only stays open until 9 p.m., and I realized I needed to use the restroom. I slowed down and noticed a figure by the roadside, a young man, maybe my age, holding a cardboard sign. It said El Paso in block letters, smudged and barely legible. At first, I hesitated. Stories of hitchhikers gone wrong ran through my head. But something about his posture, desperate, almost pleading, made me pull over. Need a ride? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. He nodded. Thank you. Thank you so much, he said, climbing into the passenger seat. His eyes were hidden under a baseball cap, shadowed, but I could feel him staring at me. Not in a friendly way. More studying. Calculating. The first few minutes were silent. I tried small talk. His responses were clipped, almost mechanical. My unease grew with every mile. Then he asked something strange. You ever drive at night and feel like someone is following you? I laughed nervously. All the time. Just paranoid, I guess. He smiled. Just a slight twitch of his lips. Some people you can't shake. He said softly. I didn't think much of it at first, but then I noticed something in the rearview mirror. Headlights. Far away at first, then closer. Too close. Matching my speed. Every time I changed lanes, they mirrored me. My stomach sank. I asked him if he saw anything in the mirror. He didn't answer, just stared ahead, calm, unnervingly calm. The radio started to crackle. Static. Whispers, faint but unmistakable. I turned it off. Silence. Why did you pick me up? I asked finally, my voice shaking. He tilted his head. Because I knew you would. I didn't understand. Didn't want to. Didn't want to. I kept driving, gripping the wheel tight enough to leave dents in the leather. At mile marker 42, the headlights were gone. But then he spoke again. You're lucky they didn't get you, he said quietly. I froze. My hands tightened on the wheel. What? Who didn't get me? Before he could answer, his head turned slowly toward me. His eyes were wrong. Not human. Pale, reflective, shining faintly in the dim light of the dashboard. I screamed. Slammed on the brakes. The car skidded, tires squealing. He laughed. Just one soft, almost melodic laugh that sent chills down my spine. I didn't stop. Not even when he shouted, pull over. It's better if you do. The lights in my rearview mirror came back. Not a car. Not a truck. A pair of headlights floating behind me, too high off the ground, too bright, cutting through the desert darkness like searchlights. I could feel the heat from them, even at a distance. I floored the accelerator. My car roared. My heart roared louder. I could hear him breathing beside me, calm and deliberate, like he knew something I didn't. By mile marker 60, I was shaking uncontrollably. The figure in the passenger seat hadn't moved. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. Just stared. I passed the next small town and saw a police cruiser parked at the intersection. I swerved toward it, yelling for help. The passenger side was empty when I stopped. No man. Nothing. The door hadn't opened. No sign he'd ever been there. The officer looked at me, concerned. I tried to explain. I picked up a hitchhiker. He was something. Eyes. Headlights. Following me. The officer shook his head slowly. Highway 285 at night. You get a lot of reports. People see things. Think they're not alone. Deserts play tricks. But I knew. I knew what I had seen. Knew the headlights, the calm voice, the unnatural eyes. I never drive that stretch at night again. Sometimes, when I drive alone after dark, I see headlights in my mirror. Too bright. Too high. Matching my speed. And I remember the hitchhiker who never should have been in my car. And who disappeared before the world could notice.